How we doing, guys? Welcome to Timberwolves Talk number 3. Hey, make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't. We're going to be doing this about every week. We're going to try to get an episode out, just talk about Timberwolves, the good, a lot of the bad, and a lot of the ugly. So if you guys want to if you want to watch this every week, man, just hit the subscribe button, leave a like, comment. Let's just get right into it, Chris. What do you
So like we said, if you haven't seen us before, we do one of these every week following the games. So I guess we can get straight into it because we're doing this post second preseason game.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to say, that's how dedicated we are. I just watched the worst half of basketball that I've ever seen. That wasn't like a freshman basketball game. That was the worst basketball game I've ever watched in my life. And I sat through, watched the whole thing. I mean, that's how dedicated we are.
Let's start with, because there was a lot of bad in this game. So let's just start with the good. I thought the bright spot of this game was an unlikely hero, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson.
What's your nickname for him? You were saying it like 100 times.
Yeah, so he gave himself this nickname. I think he calls himself Chap.
He gave himself the nickname,
and that's his Instagram handle.
Chap. All right. Well, old Chap. Well, who is old Chap?
I mean, what'd you say?
No, it's Rondae Hollis-Jefferson.
Yeah, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. I mean, he had a great game tonight. I think he made every single shot he took. He hit every single free throw. He ended with 17 points, 3 rebounds, and he was playing some really good post defense, actually.
Yeah, for me, what really stuck out to me, first of all, I feel like players always play better when they're wearing the face mask. I just think that it adds, I don't know what it adds, but it adds it just makes them play a little harder. Maybe they're not as worried about getting hit in the face, but the thing that he was doing that the rest of the team was doing, he was actually playing defense. He was actually staying with his man, and he actually had his hands up the whole time. That for me, I don't care about really the scoring, but just the defense was actually pretty impressive, I thought.
I thought really good on the offensive side of the ball too. I thought he was the only guy really in that 5-out that was cutting, and he was the only guy setting ball screens on the top of the key.
Yeah, so what I noticed about it, so what he would do was sometimes he'd flash to the top of the key right in the middle, catch the ball. And I feel like only when we got the ball to him there, that's when we started having some movement, because we get the ball to the middle.
We can start kicking out to the perimeter.
Or, yeah, get the ball to the middle, wings would cut, backdoor cut. If they don't get it, fill up, go back to the corner. And I feel like other than most of the time we were just the ball was just, it would touch about 2 players' hands and we'd get up a crappy shot. That's not how you win games.
It was a little stagnant at times for sure. I think we settled for a lot of contested 3-pointers, which was a little, it wasn't great to see because we were only 8 or 9 seconds into the shot clock, and I'd see Ricky Rubio take a contested 3, which just isn't his game.
That's what I'm saying. The shots like that, you can get that at any time in the shot clock. You can put up a contested 3 anytime. So why not look for something else? Why not look for a cut? Why not look for a screen or something? Because you can't just be throwing up shots like that early in the shot clock.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about Rondae too. He was very selective in his shots. There was not great shot selection tonight in general, but he was the only one that I saw take it to the rim. Make contested layups too, which is huge. And he picked his spots on the floor and he hit where he knew he could hit. So I thought it was a great game from Rondae. I'd say probably the other bright spot from tonight was D'Lo. I mean, we expect that though. It's nothing new that he should be knocking down those mid-range shots and threes. So we won't touch on him too much, but he was one of the only starters that was actually doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, I was impressed with Hollis-Jefferson. Do you think that he could have earned a starting position, or at least made a case to be in the running for that 4 spot?
Yeah, I think tonight for sure he solidified that he made the team.
You thought he you?
Yeah, he was just on a training camp contract, so we didn't even know if he was going to make the team. But I think tonight showed that he was really the glue of that second unit. He made things work. Could he be in the role for a starter? I I don't know. I think he could definitely compete with Wancho and Lehman for that starting spot because he looked, even though he can't really shoot the outside shot, like he was getting shot. He was making shots. I mean, we don't need everyone to shoot threes. We need a guy like that who is a physical defender, who's going to cut, who has good IQ. So I think he'd be a great starter at the 4.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really liked what I saw out of him, and what you were saying with D'Angelo Russell. I mean, just Mr. Consistency. I mean, that might be his problem. He's just so consistently good. That's why he's always underrated. Is that he's just always that good.
Yeah, I think even in his game tonight, he made a lot of shots. I think there was also some, he had a couple turnovers that I thought were kind of uncharacteristic of him. He also, I don't know, I think he had a good game scoring wise. So sadly those are really only the 2 bright spots tonight. But I mean,
what do you expect?
Culver had a decent game too, but even him, he was, I thought he was turning the ball over a lot. He wasn't playing great defense, bad shot selection.
We're just gonna be honest here. You're not a big Culver guy.
Yeah, we actually I don't know. It's tough because like if you're gonna trade up in the draft, especially trade up to the number 6 spot, you want that guy to like
be right
in
away.
your starting lineup.
It's what we were talking about with like this year for the draft, like the Bulls and like the Cavs, like they needed to draft like a player for now. Like if we're gonna move up in the draft, like why wouldn't you take someone who's ready for the NBA right now? Otherwise, there's no point in moving up in the draft because we probably could have got Culver later.
Yeah, we most definitely could.
So like it's not really a knock on him. It's just the fact that he was drafted so high. If he was drafted later, I feel like he would have so much less pressure on him, and that sucks for him that he ended up getting drafted that high. But like, I mean, that's not our fault that he got drafted that high, but we can have these expectations for him because that's what the organization did to him.
Yeah, so I think moving into some of the things that could have gotten better or poor tonight, I think first off we could talk about Cat. I think what you want in your franchise player is you want him to be the one that takes over the game no matter what, especially when your team is struggling. And I really don't think he did that tonight. I didn't think he played great post defense on Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas got a lot of easy shots, which you never want to see. He didn't hit the 3 ball as well as I'd like him to tonight. I don't know. I just thought he was going to take control a little bit more in the post and score on the inside a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean it's just tough. It's tough, especially with Cat.
Especially with him, yeah. I mean, not a knock on him at all. Obviously, it's preseason. Got a lot going on in his life, and you hope, we're just hoping the efficiency improves. He can start taking like we say a lot. This is just preseason. This is what it's meant for. Get the kinks out. So I mean, it's not like we're saying the season's over. He's not going to be good or anything. He's going to be great. It's what we saw tonight.
I mean, yeah, we might sound very like down, but we just watched a terrible basketball game for 40 minutes. So like obviously our mood's going to be a little down because that was a really bad basketball game. And just like it was hard to watch because there was a point in the game where I was like, dude, we haven't made a stop in like 10 minutes. Every time they went down the floor, they either scored or we fouled them, or we couldn't even get a stop. So it's just hard. That's hard basketball to watch. It's so slow tempo because they're always shooting free throws.
Yeah, and I think that was the next point I was going to kind of lead into after Cat was we struggled really bad on the defensive end before Rondé came in. Actually, we just it seemed like they were scoring or getting fouled every single possession. That's what me and Peyton kept talking about. They just couldn't figure out the pick and roll between Ja and Jonas Valanciunas. It seemed like either Ja would get an easy floater or they'd just dish it off and it'd be a layup. Like they didn't, or they'd kick it out to a wing. Like we just did not know to stop their pick and roll tonight.
Yeah, when we first were originally talking about it, so what they were doing is, well, at least this is what we called it when I played in high school. We called it icing the screen. So basically the screens get set. The big is gonna pop out and stay with the guy with the ball for a few seconds until the defender can get back around the screen, and then he goes back to his post. But that we goes back to the guy that he's supposed to be guarding. But that only works if the help side defense is right there in the paint. Because otherwise, if Cat's helping too long, then that leaves the alley-oop wide open if Layman's stuck in the corner. So it's really hard because you don't know if Layman was guarding a shooter or not. But actually, that is probably more so Layman's fault than Cat or Devo.
Yeah, and it's tough too because Ja and Jonas are some of the best just players at their position. Ja especially. I mean, it's going to be hard to guard those two off the pick and roll for any team, especially us. And I think it's a learning experience for sure because this is the first time, like we said, this is the first time these guys have really played together in a while, in over 9 months. So I mean, it's got to get their chemistry back. They got to get clicking a little bit. I think the next point too. I think they were just a little off. I don't think they have the team chemistry down quite yet. You saw a couple passes go behind people. You saw a couple mistimed lobs. People just not being in the positions they were expected to be in. Maybe.
Yeah, I just thought of this in my head. What I think I don't think these games should be televised. I think that these should be closed gyms. Just let them play. Let them do these little scrimmages or preseason games. And then you know what I mean? It's just they've probably barely had time to do live 5-on-5s. This, it was that bad. It just felt so awkward.
Sloppy. I think sloppy is just the word that it seemed like tonight.
Sloppy, yeah. Even Ricky Rubio, he's one of the smartest point guards, one of the highest basketball IQ. There were times he tried to dribble through 4 guys at one time, and he just turns it over like that. That's so uncharacteristic.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, yeah, I mean, it's just them. I mean, Ricky was in the bubble, though, so I was a little surprised that he was playing a little mediocre tonight. But, things are going to be fixed. I'm sure there's going to be adjustments made between now and the next preseason game against the Mavs. So I think there were also some things that I think were, decent. There's flashes. I think Anthony Edwards' performance tonight I think he scored 12 points, 4 rebounds, and assists. The numbers look fine. I mean, you would have liked him to be a little bit more efficient from the 3-point line, I think. I thought he played fine defense.
Yeah. He looked for me, he looked he looked very young, which is so the first preseason game, what I noticed about him was he'd be the guy who didn't really want the ball, so he'd always run to the corner and just he really played his role well the first game. And I feel like in the second half of this game, he really just wanted to show who he was, that he could score. So I felt like he forced it. He was trying to force it a little much, but I mean, he's the number 1 pick, so that's why we got him. So I liked seeing that aggression, even when he had that offensive foul where he pushed off. That was a great take to the basket. He bullied him.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you on that. I think it's great to kind of just hand him the keys in the second half, especially in a preseason game, and just kind of just let him shoot, let him get some shots up, let him play, let him be the lead of the offense. I think they started to do that a little bit more in the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, and I think he's gonna miss shots, guys. He's a rookie. He's 19 years old. He hasn't got to play in a while. It really makes me mad when I go on the Timberwolves page and I see everyone just calling him a bust, should have drafted LaMelo. Guys, it's his second preseason NBA game. He hasn't even touched the court on a real NBA game yet.
That's what I'm saying. They shouldn't televise these games, man. It's literally the most pointless game ever. I guarantee, LeBron's first preseason game, you think anyone remembers that at all?
No, I mean, Kobe didn't score his first points till a couple games in.
Right. You can't be this quick to judge. Even you might think I'm crazy, but even Anthony Bennett, everyone's saying he's the worst. He's had a decent G League. He's not that terrible. He's still playing in the G League, I'm pretty sure. He's signed a few NBA contracts 10 days. He's not as awful as everyone's saying. Everyone's so quick to judge. Remember Lonzo was a bust?
And now he's I think Lonzo. I rate Lonzo a bit higher than a lot of people. I think he could turn into that triple double guy. And It's gonna take time for Anthony Edwards. And that's kind of there's gonna be growing pains. You're not gonna step into this league and be perfect right away. It's the same thing with like a stat I saw that was kind of cool was Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, some of the other young ones like Ben Simmons. They average like 6 or 7 points in the summer league
Yeah,
as top 5 picks. I mean,
right.
if you're gonna call Anthony Edwards is averaging more than them, so you're gonna call them busts. I mean,
You can't like you. That is crazy talk to be calling Anthony Edwards a bust right now. If you're calling Anthony Edwards a bust, you're not a Timberwolves fan. Like, there's no way.
I mean, people saying LaMelo's so much better. I mean, LaMelo didn't even score last game, and he had 12 tonight too. They had the same amount of points.
Like, just because, yeah, like LaMelo is a great. I love LaMelo. I love
Yeah, we
watching.
love LaMelo too. I think they're both going to go on to be great NBA players in their own realm. I think LaMelo's going to be a great distributor, and I think Anthony Edwards is going to eventually become that elite scoring option.
Well, yeah, just because LaMelo is doing behind the back passes and stuff, like, so what? Like,
Yeah,
that's still
it's just for yeah. I mean, like
it might be
I don't
better.
know. It made me a little mad when I saw that.
Oh, for sure. That makes me so like sure. Maybe after this year, if he does terrible, then I could see some people calling him a bust. But even after this year, you can't call him a bust. Like, you have to give him a shot. You have to let him grow and develop in your system. Kind of like even like I mean, this is not even the same sport. Like, but Patrick Mahomes, he didn't even play his first year.
He didn't even play really his first 2 years at all.
Exactly. Like, you can't judge these guys. He's so young. Like, it's not like these players are coming 4 years out of college. Like, he literally is a 19, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah. So I think another thing I noticed too, our other rookie, Jaden McDaniels, I think a year in the G League would be really beneficial to him for a couple of reasons. I think he looks a little undersized right now. Is kind of what I noticed. He's got so much potential. It's just I think he needs to get a little bit bigger. I think he just needs to be the head of an offense for a year. And just I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because when he was out there, he just looked a little awkward. He was pretty skinny. He was very frail looking.
Well, I think the part that really made me think so was he drove to the paint and someone just grabbed the ball and jump balled him. Like you don't see that a lot when someone's just driving to
No,
the hoop.
no. So like, but no, like he should be in the G League this year, and that's okay. He's probably. I bet he'll sign a. Well, he already signed his contract, right?
Yeah, he could be sent to the G League.
He can be okay.
Mhm.
So like, I mean, I feel like that would be the smartest move for him and for the organization. Let's talk about Jalen Noel, the first preseason game. What did you think about that fourth game?
So yeah, like the same thing. We were kind of down big in the fourth in that game too, and then Jalen Noel came in and was our spark plug. It seems like Rondé Hollis Jefferson and Jalen Noel are. I really like those two actually on the second unit, and I don't know if it's just because they're playing a little bit worse competition. I mean, Rondé was playing some of the starters though. I think for the Grizzlies.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like you want your player to dominate against players subpar. Like that's the point. And Jalen Noel did just that. He scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. So I think he probably earned himself a roster spot with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's kind of a player I didn't even like really know about him until a couple days ago, to be honest. And he's a very solid. He's a very solid player. I think he can potentially get some great minutes off the bench. And like, if we're looking for positives, dude, our bench or our second unit is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah,
I think.
I think we have a lot of depth. I just think we need to learn how to. Everyone's just got to learn how to play with each other. I think that's the biggest moral of this preseason game is it just didn't look in sync. I think we didn't play a complete game of basketball with everyone.
I 100% agree, and that just comes in. Also, like, I think it's kind of like guys are kind of prove that they should be on the team right now, so they might not be willing to make the extra pass because the role player right now is not going to stick out to the coaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and that's why I kind of liked watching the fourth quarter because even though it was a little sloppy, those guys were playing as hard as they could, and
Right.
that's why I liked Rondé Hollis Jefferson so much tonight because it seemed like he was always just he was playing as hard as he could on both sides.
Yeah, like we were gonna stop watching after after it started getting late in the fourth quarter. But like you're right, exactly how you said that. Those guys were actually trying and playing their hearts out. So like that actually was some good basketball there.
Yeah, and even though it was a little sloppy, at least there weren't just guys chucking up threes. There were guys actually trying to run the offense and try to, get a little better. And that was another huge point for us too. Was the offense just I don't know. It just seemed like I couldn't really tell if they were running plays. It just seemed like they were just trying to run pick and roll up top and just kind of play make off that. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and not in the NBA, it's not really like they're running a lot of set plays,
Yeah.
But just to at least get the ball like swinging around a little bit, get some cutting and movement. Like you can't just be standing on the perimeter. Like there's no that. That
I feel like out of that timeout, I would have liked to see them run a set play or something too.
Yeah, just like especially when someone's struggling, right? Cat's not making any shot. Cat was struggling for some point there. Like, why not get him a set play? Try to get him to the free throw line, get some shots up. Like, that's where the coaching comes in. And that's another point I wanted to bring up. Is Ryan Sanders, is he the guy? Or are we going to need to move on here?
See, my whole thing about him is, like, he's just so young and so, like, all the players love him. And that's a good thing to have. But I don't know. I feel like you need someone who's that coach. Like, you can't have – I don't know if you can have a player's coach in a professional sport. Like, I think the reason McVay is so good is he's so young and creative, but he's also – he seems like he gets on his guys. Like, he's got to be a hard coach to play for. But I just don't see Ryan Saunders as the one, yelling at these guys, really motivating them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't – you can't be – it's kind of like – you can't be a boss and a best friend. That doesn't work. You can't be a coach and a friend, because when you're a coach, you gotta make the hard call. You gotta trade away a guy. You gotta cut someone. You can't do that if you're best friends with them. You know what I mean? Like at some point, you got to be the coach. You got to be the authoritative guy who's willing to bench like Cat. Like if Cat's playing, not trying hard, bench him. You can't be afraid to do that. And if you're too close with these guys and like too much of a player coach, that can be a problem.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. So I think, in my opinion, we want to give maybe Ryan this season. And if it's not what we like, there's a couple options. I think there's I don't think Popovich would leave San Antonio, but his contract's up after next year. There's a couple other coaches. I mean, I also like our assistant coach a lot, David Vanderpool. He was the assistant at the Trailblazers, and he was the one who kind of drafted and coached Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and Nurkic. So I mean, and he's a more elder coach. So I think we need more of a veteran leading the ship. And I hope Gerson, if it doesn't go the way he wants, can make that tough decision. And maybe give Ryan a spot still on the coaching staff as a player development coach or something.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that I don't like about the NBA coaching situation is that they kind of just recycle the same coaches. Like it's always the same guys getting recycled and going all over the place. Yeah. I'd like to kind of like Bradley Stevens, like when he came from Butler, right?
Yep.
When he came from Butler, he was fresh, young. Like I think we should go get someone. I don't know though, because that's kind of like Ryan Saunders. It's like the same thing. I just want to get something new coming, like just some. Well, new.
That's the thing with Ryan though, is he was kind of just like he never really came from a head coaching tree anywhere. So I think I like the idea of getting college talent. Like I think if you're like a really good like assistant coach or a young head coach in college, I think a perfect example from across sport is the Panthers hiring Matt Rule from Baylor. I think that's like perfect. Hire a college coach who's maybe like really creative in the way he plays, analytic driven, player development, a little hard on his guys. I think I'd like to see something like that. But if a big name like a Doc Rivers or Popovich is out there and he would sign a contract, I mean,
why not? Dude, why are my ears so red?
They are pretty red. Maybe it's from all the terrible basketball you had to listen to.
Fire's on, dude. I'm sweating my ass off over here. But
I don't know what else do you see in the game.
I mean, honestly, it's really hard to break down a game like that because there's just not much. One thing I mean, just to go to the other side, Ja Morant, man, he's a special basketball player. He's gonna be the face of the league for years to come. I see flashes of Derrick Rose, I see Russell Westbrook, and then he's a really smart basketball player too, which
See, that's what I was gonna bring up too, man.
that's the that's the that's what is made that's the reason he's so special to me. He's an athlete, he's a scorer, but he's also really smart with every single movement he makes. He's not wasting any movements, and he's always making the right play. So he's a special basketball player. I don't know about his haircut, his hairstyle, but as a basketball player, man, if you're a Grizzlies fan, man, it's good for you guys.
Yeah, I think the big thing is too they're without two of their starters. So I mean they look pretty good, two men down. Yeah, Ja's a really special player because he's really decisive in what he does, and when he makes a decision to drive it to the rack, it's really fun to watch because he just flies. He's so athletic, and he does remind me a lot of Westbrook. Actually, he can shoot. He can shoot better than Westbrook too. So he's going to be a really scary player this year for sure. I could see him honestly making an All NBA team.
Oh, for sure.
He had such great rookie season too, and he deserved that Rookie of the Year over Zion. And he's going to be a great player for years to come. So if you're a Grizzlies fan, you found your face of your franchise, and they're definitely competing for the eighth seed, seventh, eighth seed in the West for sure.
Yeah, and also it was nice to see Tyus out there, man. Like anyone who's from Minnesota, like Tyus Jones, man. Like especially if you're around our age, like that's the guy we all looked up to when we were in middle school and stuff. And like we'd go watch Tyus in the state tournament all the time, and just to see him back in the Target Center, man, that's awesome. And he's just
he's one of those guys too that's just a really smart basketball player. Like he's a great defender. He's gonna make the right passes, run the offense, and that's all you want in a backup point guard. He does all those things really well. So I mean, he's a perfect backup point guard.
I just don't. What happened? How did we end up? How did we lose him? What happened with that?
We just didn't pay him.
I mean, I don't know if I'd rather have him or Rubio, but it's tough not having him. And then, I mean, man, I'm just excited to see especially what Trey can do.
Yeah, especially in that Spurs system, that's going to be awesome to see.
Like, if you were to tell me what is one team that would be the perfect fit for Trey Jones in the whole NBA, I would say the Spurs. Like, He literally is the perfect definition of a Spurs player, and I hope Popovich stays around and can help develop him because he's gonna be better than Tyus is, and that's
gonna be awesome to see for sure. I mean, yeah, we saw a couple. We saw Gordy too. That was another face that never thought I'd see again, and it was interesting.
What is he? 43 now?
He seems pretty old. I think he's still got that really big contract that we gave him.
No, so I think we're still paying him. If it works
we traded the contract away, so they're paying it now. I forgot who we had to. I don't know who we had to pay for that one, but yeah, I don't know. It was just an interesting game in general. I feel like preseason games are supposed to spark your interest and show you some potential of what's to happen. And this one wasn't my favorite one to watch, but
no. I mean, but hey, you know what? We gotta stick positive. It's the Timberwolves talk, man. We gotta get everyone hyped up. Like, not many people are doing this. Not many people are talking about the Timberwolves, and we want to create a great little fan base, little community here of people that will just stay with us throughout the season and just chime in and give your takes here. So we got to stay positive. We got to look forward to that first game against the Pistons, and we think that's a very winnable game.
Yeah, we think that's 100% the best possible game we can get. That's a really young team with possibly two rookies in their starting lineup. We should absolutely eat them alive the first game. That should be, that should start off the season good. And I think,
you go, boss.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be tough playing some of these West teams, but if we have the offense and we shoot the ball like we do, it's gonna be a good season. I think I think we just love doing this Timberwolves talk, and we're going to be super, super excited to see the outcome of this season. Hopefully we get into the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, drop a comment, drop some comments, drop some likes, subscribe. We love doing these things. We're going to do them hopefully every week just to recap all the games that week, tell you what we think, what's upcoming, and keep you updated, because I think the last two videos have done really well. We'd love to keep doing this and make this a huge thing.
For sure. Yeah, this is just like it's a fun thing I look forward to, and it's really helped me stay engaged with like the Timberwolves and just really been able to pay attention more and just like focus up on because not everyone's able to do that. I mean, you might not be able to watch 2 or 3 Timberwolves games in a week, so this is a perfect opportunity just to get caught up and then see what we're looking for next week. So I think for me, I'm just trying to look forward and just still remember we got D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, Malik Beasley.
Man, we got a lot of really good young talent that's going to develop this season.
And we're crazy if we're supposed to be thinking that they're going to be winning by 20 or 30 these first couple of preseason games. They have a long way to go, and it's going to take a while for this team to click, and they haven't really ever played together. So we just got to stay optimistic and hope for the best, and just it's going to be a great season. I think it's only going up from here.
Yeah, great episode today. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll see you for Timberwolves Talk 4 next week.
All right, guys, have a good one.